Do basically a quick run through of how to set up a weekend service. So to start, you turn on the confidence monitor and the stage screen with their remotes that are found to the left of the iMac. And then unfortunately the remotes for the side screens aren't working at the moment, so you have to climb up the stairs in the back and individually turn on their projectors, one on each side. However, once that's done, come back to the iMac, and you need to do this first. This is super important to do it in this order. Open up Light Key, and then under Recent Projects, Stillwater 2022. And then you can make that a little bit smaller, not full screen. If you want to double check that it's working for whatever reason, you can click on one of our presets and verify that the lights turn on correctly. Then you can minimize that. As long as light keys open up first, our light cues will work in ProPresenter. So then open up ProPresenter 7, takes a second. Then to add in a service, under the library bar, click on the plus, then Planning Center Service, then drop down menu for worship services, and find the most recent service. In this case, it's the top one. It should almost always be the top one. There's no reason that it shouldn't be. It's the one that's coming up, but verify the dates. In this case, May 7th and 8th. Then click select. That will load it over here. I have this set up pretty strongly, so almost everything will auto-populate. So like welcome loop is already auto-populated, side screen announcement loops, and as we scroll through, we'll see stuff that is auto-populated. Some things aren't, some things are. It kind of just depends on what's up. So to start, we want to set our side screen announcement loops to the correct layer. And there's another video that kind of goes a little bit more into detail about that. But you come over here to the destination target. It's literally looks like a little target on the top right. Click on it and change from presentation to announcements. And then you're going to want to do that with the bottom one as well. So you have one at the top, which is the one that correlates to pre-service, and one at the bottom that correlates to post-service, and change them both to announcement layer. And you know they're on the announcement layer because the little green target shows up on our order setup. So we go back to the top, and so we have welcomes already there, announcement loops there, side screen countdown or service countdown videos there, and then welcome and announcements. So under opening, normally this will auto-populate, but because our title is a little bit different because it includes who's doing it, it didn't auto-populate this week. So then we go over to the right, find the magnifying glass, and then search. On the far left, out of these three options, it's the ProPresenter logo. That means we're searching our own libraries. So then you find welcome and announcements, click on that, and click link. In this case, it's already set up for this coming service, but if you weren't sure, what you do is you're going to open up Google Chrome, open up your Chrome account. In my case, I'm just opening up mine. Announcements is something I check a lot on this computer, so I have it as a preset. Then you're going to open up the Google's version of Excel and check the order. What I end up doing is I just drag ProPresenter over so it's small. And then so our order is our basic. We start with our Stillwater logo, Connect Cards, Church Center app. Those are always our first three. And then our last two are always the offering graphic, and then back to our logo. But in the midst of that, this is our like fun changing announcements. So we have membership class, Tesha's ordination, worship time change, the spring picnic, graduation Sunday, and then the Men of God breakfast. Those are the order that are currently under our announcement schedule. Odds are we will not be having all of them announced this weekend, but you won't know what it is until Saturday when we get the like actual announcements thing. And if that's the case, then you'll just click on one, you can right click and then click delete to remove it from there. Because we clicked on one, what you see is it shows up on the center screen and the side screens right now. Over here in our like preview thing, confidence monitor shows nothing because we don't need anything on the confidence monitor. So then we're going to kind of keep scrolling through. In this case, we have a special announcement that's going to be highlighted, the Walk to Emmaus. And so what happens here is we don't have it auto-populated, and so we need to find it and bring it in. So at the top here, click on Media, and that opens up folders down at the bottom, or you can do Control V, whichever you prefer. On the very bottom left, under Media, there's a folder called Announcements. You're going to click on that. And then we're going to find the photo that correlates to Emmaus announcement. So then you're going to highlight that and drag it. Once you're over the correct thing, it's going to completely highlight that bar and you drop it there. If this was a reoccurring thing, then it would show up very similar to how all the rest of the stuff's auto-populated, but because it's a single one, it's just going to be that image shows up. So when you want to play that, you hit the giant play button, and it's going to be what shows up on the screens. Now, offering, we're bringing that back. So it didn't auto-populate, although we do have an offering presentation. So maybe in the future it will auto-populate, but this time it didn't. So for now, we go back to the magnifying glass in our search bar, and then search here. In this case, it didn't actually show up. So what we need to do then is we get out of our library. We're going to go over here to sermon files under the library, and we see offering as an option. So what we're going to do is we're going to take that and drag and drop it, very similar to how we dropped the announcement for Emmaus, but it's coming out of our library rather than a media folder. And now this is offering. So when we click on it, offering shows up on the screen. Now we can go back to our playlist and see our order for the playlist by under playlist, clicking on the weekend service that it is. So this brings up our entire thing over here. Now, under our worship set, Living Hope is not actually a song that we currently have under our library. So what we're going to do is we go to the magnifying glass again because we're searching. Then we go to the middle one, which is Song Select Search. 99% of the time, it is the top one. You're going to want to check the services folder, and probably usually on your phone, and verify that that is correct. And you can check that a variety of different ways, but I know this one is the correct one. So what we do then is we click import, link it the same way. Then all these settings are good. We can check our theme. So Stillwater Services, yes, streaming two-line center is the one that we want. And then check that our library is worship songs, and then you click edit. Now, under this, what we are checking is we're adding in a few different things that make it so it works for us. So at the very beginning of the first word, you hit insert slide break, and then insert slide break again. Then on slide number 1 over here, we right-click, go to groups, click on intro. Now on slide, and that actually changed all of it. So now what we have to do is continue changing stuff. So slide 2, go back to groups, and now that's going to be pad start. So that changed everything after that for that group. So now we go to slide 3, groups, verse 1. Now that changed what was originally verse 1 back to an actual verse. So then we have verse 1, verse 2, chorus, verse 3. Now we see this one randomly says the word repeat. We don't want that on there. So we're going to highlight and delete that and then bring that line up so it's just that. Now, instead of ending, we don't actually have anything labeled ending. So what you're going to want to do is we're going to retitle that to probably a tag. So then we're going to right-click on it, go to group, then tag. Now we have to add our ending slides. So what you're going to do is click insert slide break, and then you're actually going to need to add an extra line space there. So just hit return once on the keypad, then insert slide break again because we need to do another one, and same thing, you need to add an extra line, so hit return. and then insert slide break again. This last one does not need to have an extra line on it. So then in this case, on slide 18, we're going to right-click, group. At the very bottom, we see instrumental. Then on 19, group spontaneous. Then 20, group outro. Those will always be our 3 ending, just like intro and pad start will always be our 2 beginning. So once that's there, you click import, and then the song's there. Now, what you could do is over here to the right, we see arrangements. We're going to click on that. Currently, master shows up. So then you're going to click on new arrangement. You're going to always title it FP Worship. That means Frederick Pike Worship. That is our new arrangement. Now, we don't actually know what the arrangement is at the moment. That's okay. Just kind of, we're shelling it out and setting it up for there. I'm actually going to close our media bin again, just so we have clear space. Just kind of leave it at that. Now, God, I Look to You is something that is already in our worship songs, so we can click on announcements, then change master to FP Worship, and that actually has our most recent arrangement in there. And most of the time that it's going to be the same. Sometimes it's not. We'll check into it afterwards. But we're going to set that there. Now message. Message already auto-populated. And in this case, the verse is the correct verses for the weekend. There was another video that I created that showed how to put the verses into this message presentation correctly. So auto-populated, and at the moment, there's nothing to do with it. If you see that the verses are incorrect for this sermon set, then you will look at the other video to see how to add it in. Communion auto-populated like normal. In Christ Alone, we actually don't have in our song repository or our library right now. So same as Living Hope, we do a search and under Song Select. And then there's a lot of different versions on it. Again, normally click the first one. It gives you a slight preview, so import and link. Edit, and then we go through it again. Make sure everything is only 2 lines, which is the case. So then at the very beginning, we're inserting our 2 slides. Group, changing it to intro, first slide, second slide, pad start, third slide, goes back to verse 1, and that changes what we need there. Then at the very end, we're adding our 3 slides, the first 2, with the extra line, and we're changing those to instrumental, spontaneous, and then outro, and then import. And then we go to arrangements, and again, we're just kind of shelling this out and adding a Frederick Pike Worship arrangement that we can adjust as we go later on. So then closing, dismissal is just a cue for someone to come up. There's nothing that you do here. Thanks for joining us. Loop is already set up and it was brought in automatically. And then side screen announcements are already here. One thing you do want to check for the side screen announcements is if there's anything that is already passed, you're going to want to delete it. So in this case, the teen's Mother's Day thing, we're going to delete. This photo, for whatever reason, is having an issue. We can see that because of the giant question mark. So what we're going to want to do is delete that and then go back into open our media bin again for announcements and re-bring in the spring picnic. Sometimes it just has issues. Sometimes it doesn't. We don't know why. You just drag and drop it in from that announcement thing, and then it's good to go. Everything else looks good. Nothing has been passed at this point. And that is the basics for setting up the flow of the announcement or flow of the weekend. Last thing that we're going to want to do is check our lights. So welcome and announcements. It should already be here. So you can right click, look, and then check remove actions, see what kind of comes up. So we need clear announcements here, and this is what actually brings all the side screens and the center screen together. If that's not there, the announcement loop will continually loop for the entire time. So you need to make sure that clear announcements is there. And in this case, lights, front sermon, lights on is there as well. So that's what we want. Then it stays, that light key stays the same for all of these. And then for Living Hope, what we need to do is, because it's a brand new song, we don't have any lights set up for it yet. So then we go lights, praise, and worship and bring it over. That gives us the light cue, and you can check it by the lights set up there. Now, if that's the case, you're going to do that for all the songs. Then for the message, we're going to right-click, see that there's nothing on there for the lights. So what we're going to want to do is go to front sermon, lights on, and drag and drop that over there. And then that will be good through communion. Then again, In Christ Alone is a new song, so we drag and drop praise and worship lights there. That is how we add the lights. I'm going to show another video for adding like auto starts for the countdown timer. One last thing I want to show you is we're going to go back to all of our songs, and we're going to show how to add background videos for these. So I'm going to open up your media bin again, go to current series, and then we can find any video that we want for it. But my suggestion is make sure that it does not say still, basically. You want it to be a video. So you're going to drag and drop it onto the intro slide for all of them. So any song that doesn't have it, most of the time it's all the songs don't. That's what you do. And that's basically how you set up a weekend service. You can always run through and check your stuff. So start at the top, click welcome loop. Welcome loop shows up on both the center screen and the side screen. Click on side screen announcement loop. That now shows up and is going to cycle through only on the side screens, and we can see that from our preview video. Countdown video only goes to the center screen. Welcome and announcements brings it all together, and if you look on the stage past the computer, the lights actually change. So then it will be the same through Emmaus, offering, Living Hope. Does change the lights. But one thing that we actually noticed that we forgot to put on is the confidence monitors showing the exact same. So what we want to do to adjust that is going to be right-click, add action, then stage. Under stage confidence monitor, you want it to be on songs. And that's what we want for all of the songs. And so then you do that, and then when you go back here, it sets it up to now show the lyrics in the way that we want them shown. And then you can scroll through and verify that everything's the same. Under message, what we can do is we can right-click, add action, and then you can adjust the stage. Stage could stay the same if we want it like that, and that way it shows the verse prep, or we could change it if, depending on who's speaking and what they want, to add an action stage, and then it would be duplicate main screen. So then what happens there is it goes back to showing all of them. Most of the time it ends up being, they want it to be kind of the same as the song's layout, just because of how we layer the verses with it. And so then now it shows up that way, and there you go. That is how you can set up a weekend service.